What's good, family? It's your boy, Chris Sims, co-host of the Praise Radio Show, and I'm here today with another episode of Car Chronicles with Chris. You know what it is. I got 4 kids, y'all. Ain't no place quiet to go in the house, so I gotta go in the car. But we here today with the one and only, possibly incredibly talented, the one and only Miss Simone Henry. How are you today, Miss Simone?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you agreeing to be on with us today and having a conversation with us. I'm really excited to get into some questions with you and to see about what you do. So let's
Okay,
get into this. Let's get into this. So tell the people a
sure.
little bit about who you are, who Simone is, and what you do.
Well, my name is Simone Henry. I am the founder of Eshe Music. Eshe is a word, it's a Middle English word that means everlasting, perpetual, forever. And I figured that was a great word for a company that helps to promote Christian music and music that uplifts Christ. So that's what I called it. I started out with a resource site, basically to help artists to connect with the resources that they need. And then just recently I revamped and kind of rebranded, and now I am doing coaching for artists and really honing in and focusing on helping artists to build their fan base and make money with their music. That is the bulk of what I do. I help artists to get started, but if you're already started, if you've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, I spoke to an artist once at a conference who said, I've been doing this for 20 years and I haven't really made any money in it. And I thought, wow, that's not good. That's sad. He should be able to make an income from his music. And so that's what I decided to do. I decided to help artists to make an income with their music.
You help Christian recording artists brand and build their fan bases so they can
Absolutely.
monetize their.
Absolutely. And I don't really, I was telling an artist today, I don't really focus on helping you get on radio or get into the churches to minister or to win a ton of awards. Not that those things are wrong. There's nothing wrong with those things. However, that's putting your music, your ministry into the hands of someone else, right?
Right.
You submit your songs to radio. If they decide they don't like your songs, well, then the people don't hear it. If the award shows don't nominate you, well, then people don't see you. If the churches don't book you to come and minister, in front of their people, then those people don't see you. Well, I focus on helping artists to take their music directly to people who need to hear it, directly to fans, whether they get to be a part of a church service or not, whether they are on radio or not, whether they are on playlists or not. None of, all of that is fine and good. But if you don't have any of that, you can still get people to hear your music. There are so many tools out there that helps you to get in front of people who need to hear your music and the message that God gave you. So I focus on not allowing not allowing what I call the gatekeepers to stop you.
Mm. So most artists only believe that, hey, unless I get my music or unless I'm getting gigs, I'm, that's the only way I'll be making money.
There's
So
a bit of distortion, so if I don't answer right away, that's why I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
okay, is this better?
The last thing I heard you say was, yeah, that's a little bit better. Last thing I heard you say was that most artists believe that, and take it from there.
Okay. Most artists believe that unless they are played on the radio, unless they get their songs played on the radio, unless they're getting gigs, that would be the only way for them to be successful or to acquire some kind of income from doing what they love to do. So, if you don't mind, I don't want you to feel like you're divulging your secrets. But what are some of the other ways that artists can possibly create income?
Well, most artists already are using one of the biggest tools out there, and that's social media. It's how you've met me. It's how most artists meet me. Is that they are on social media, they see my posts, and and they reach out to me. I'm on social media, and I'm building an audience, and I'm bringing in clients. Well, artists can do the same thing. Most people in the world are on social media somewhere. If not on Facebook, then they're on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, or they're somewhere. There is a social media that most people are on. um, what I find with most artists is that they're not using that tool very effectively. And so I teach them how to use it better. What I normally get, or what I normally see with artists, is that they post posters on their profiles and in lots of gospel music groups where these people are the people in that group are other artists who are also trying to get their music out there. And so you post your poster in there, you post your announcement saying that you have a new single, you post a video on YouTube, a link to your YouTube video, and say, hey, my new video dropped, or hey, I'm having this concert over here, come see it. And what I see in all these groups is that there is no love, no like, no comment, no engagement of any kind.
Right.
And the problem with that is that artists are putting their music in the wrong place, for one thing. And they're posting in such a way that they're trying to get people to pay attention to their music, when really the music is actually the last thing that people are looking for.
Mm.
And that comes down to branding, right? People want to know you and who you are. What do you believe in? We're in a time of social upheaval right now. What do you believe about that? What do you think about that? Where's your heart? Where's your mind? A lot of us have been quarantined for months. Where are you on that? What's going on? How does it relate to your music? Are you writing about it? Do you have a song that uplifts us out of this mire that we're in? Artists don't necessarily talk about that. And in relation to their music, what they do is they just say, buy my music, listen to my song, come to my concert, but we have no clue who they are. And so then we don't really care. They're the people who are already their friends, they care, and that's nice. They care. But how do you go beyond the people who are already with you? Your mom, your aunties, your cousins, how do you go beyond that initial group of loving supporters? You want to build beyond them to their friends and family, to strangers who already like your style of music. And the way you do that is by actually letting people in. And basically, it boils down to building a relationship. And so many artists don't do that. Building a relationship is really letting people get to know you, and you get to know them, right? There is this analogy that we like to use. It's called dating your audience, right? Most indie artists are dating their audience. You're still trying to figure out if you like them, and they're trying to figure out if they like you. You don't walk up to a girl on the street and say, oh, you're beautiful. my name's Chris, I'd like to marry you. You know, you don't do that. There's a dating relationship that has to happen. You spend time getting to know each other and deciding, okay, well, we want to get married. Beyonce is an artist who is married to her audience, right? They even have cute nicknames for each other. You know, whatever Beyonce does or says, dropped Lemonade, and it was a album about, I don't know, getting over her cheating husband or something like that. I don't know. But her hordes of fans came to her defense, and you know, there were even death threats against some woman who was suspected of being the other woman. You know, when you have a loyal fan base like that, I mean, there's no place that you can't go,
Right.
because we had an incident a little while back. I'm doing this podcast on Thursdays, where somebody decided to show up and wanted to say mean things about us. Well, we've been building up our fan base for a while, and our fans didn't pay him any attention, and he couldn't make any inroads on our podcast by saying negative things about us. Why? Because we've been building up our fan base. They came to our rescue, you know. So it's so important. That's where your income comes from, and that's where your opportunities come from. So without that strong, healthy fan base and engaged fan base, it's hard to move forward as an artist. You can win a boatload of awards. You can even have 30,000 followers on Instagram, but if they're not true fans, it doesn't really help. There was this lady recently who had, how many? She had thousands and thousands. I think she had like 3 million followers on Instagram. Well, one day she decided to sell some t-shirts. So she put them up for sale, and she got about 30 people buying them out of her millions of followers. She did not have true fans. She had followers. So there's a big difference. A lot of times when I ask artists, how many fans do you have? They'll say, oh, I have 5,000 followers on my Facebook page. That's nice, but are they truly fans? So I help artists to turn followers and casual music listeners into fans.
Followers and fans are not the same.
Not the same thing.
Not the
No.
same. Wow. And the way to turn followers into fans is to bridge the gap, and kind of create an environment where they feel like they know you.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's good. That's good, and I think that is an element that a lot of artists are missing. You don't know anything about them, and it's like, boom, here's my music, buy it. You know,
right. And I think there's also an element of fear, I suppose. It's rare when we see somebody in our Facebook feed opening up and talking about their lives. And I think that a lot of artists are afraid to do that. There is one artist I know who does that on a regular basis. She doesn't market her music. She markets herself and her family. So what you'll see on her feed are stories about her health. She has an immune deficiency disease. You know, that's really bothersome. But whenever she talks about it, she always talks about that in relationship to her faith. She talks about being a mother. She has 4 children. She talks about being a wife, you know, and that's mostly what she talks about. Every so often, she'll bring up, I'm having a concert over here. I'm doing such and such over there. I've been to a few of her concerts. Every time I go, the place is packed. People feel like they know her. And so they want to come in person and see this girl who they've been getting to know on social media. And it works.
So let me ask you, Simone, who are some of your previous clients, if you don't mind?
Um, I can't give out their names unless, they want,
Understood.
unless I get permission first.
Right.
But I always tell people that I'm not here to make you famous. If I can give you a list of names, but you're not going to know them.
Right.
I'm not in the business of making you famous. I'm in the business of helping you to bring in an income. There are lots of artists out there who are bringing in an income from their engaged and loyal fan base, but you will have never heard of them. Why? Because they're doing it online. They're not filling 30,000 seat arenas. They are building relationships with their fans. They're not out here trying to be household names. And they're not on the award shows, and they're not all over the radio.
Right. Sometimes it's those individuals that kind of maintain a consistent and thriving career, even though you may not know their names, you may not hear them on the radio, but somewhere, somehow, they manage to maintain a thriving career.
Absolutely. There are artists who travel the country playing in, small venues over here and small venues over there, but they're traveling all over the place. They've got this network of supporters who are, who will support them whenever they come to town. They may not be in the large mega churches, but they're in smaller churches, they're in homes, they're in parks, they're in, just all these other different little venues. And they have a strong and engaged fan base of supporters and people who will buy whatever it is they're selling, and will listen to whatever it is they put out. Why? Because they're so loyal. They're such engaged fans. And these aren't people that you are going to know. They're not household names. I don't work with household names necessarily. I work with individuals and groups of artists who just want to put their music out into the world and let the people who need to hear it, right? Artists who are interested in being the leader of a strong tribe, what is the message that you have that needs to be put out there? So many artists, they become artists and then they think that, okay, my next step is to get on the radio, be on the cover of some prominent magazine and become a superstar. Well, is that why God gave you the music he gave you and the gift he gave you and the songs he gave you? Or is there a particular person that he wants you to reach? Is there someone out there, a group of people out there who need to hear your testimony? That may not be the hordes of millions who fill stadiums. That may be the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people that you found online and that will bring you to their church in their little town over here, or bring you to this festival that they're throwing, in this town over there, Those are the artists that I work with, not the ones who are necessarily trying to get into the stadium. Now, being in the stadium with 20,000 people waiting with bated breath for you to walk onto the stage is a huge ego boost. I get that. It's a huge ego boost. To me, though, that's not the meat of your ministry. That's the icing. That's the icing on the cake, but you've got to build the cake first. There is nothing that says that you can't get there. You can absolutely get there,
Right.
but build the foundation first. So
Right.
many artists are just, they want to skip the foundation and go to, the highest heights of music superstardom.
Right.
Well, it doesn't work that way, to get to that dream of being able to fill a stadium or whatever it is your dream is. You start on the bottom rung. There are steps to get to that level. So you can't skip all the steps and just jump to the top. You have to hit those steps. So, I help artists to do that. I mean, if you're an artist who has a nice network of 2,000-3,000 people who are supporting you across the country and overseas and are bringing you to all their places, and then you work with those couple thousand people and they help you to build a fan base of 10, 20, 40, 50,000. Well, that's great, but you got to start with your 1, 2, 3,000.
I remember a couple of years ago, I released my first single titled Water. And it was it was so difficult for me to release it because I was not satisfied with it. So I was like, but the reason why I released it is because like I felt God telling me like really strongly to release it now. God, man, I don't want to do this. I released it, um, and when I released it, about a couple of months later, somebody reached out to me via social media and said, "Thank God for your song." They said that they were contemplating suicide.
I see.
Heard the song, and it changed their mind. And I was like, "Wow."
That's why God gave you the song.
Right. Right.
To reach out to that person.
Right. Because God cares about us and He loves us so much that He would go through those extra lengths for the one. He would say, I would have Chris write a song just for that person. And so it's something that we have to keep in mind as artists, that we're not called to be superstars, we're called to be servants.
Absolutely.
We have to keep that in mind when we're being creatives and we're putting out content and putting out our music. That's what we're here for. Is
Absolutely.
the world one note at a time.
Absolutely. And we also have to remember to not despise humble beginnings.
Right.
We all have to start somewhere. We don't come out of the womb knowing how to do calculus. We have to learn how to add 1 and 1 first, right? It's the same with being an artist. So God is not going to give you 30,000 fans if you're not able to work with the 100 or 200 that you have now.
Right.
Build a relationship with them and allow them to help you to get your 1,000, and then allow them to help you grow to your 5 and your 10. God's going to start you off small. He's always going to start you off small, right, and allow you to grow. If He can't trust you with 200 fans, He's not going to trust you with 200,000.
Right.
Because if being a person who has fans, you are the leader of that tribe. There is not just, how, you're watching the news and they, some disaster happens and they say, oh, 20 people died or 12 people died or 15 people died. It always comes across to us as just numbers, but each of those numbers are people with lives and families and hopes and dreams, and bills and children and mothers and, Every time put out a song, every time you stand up on a stage and sing something or play something, you're touching someone. And we have to remember that online as well. There is somebody on the other side of your computer screen. So when you're posting something and you're just saying, buy my song, imagine you were in real life, you were walking past this person in a Starbucks. And what would you say if you wanted this person to buy your song? Would you just walk up to them, shove a CD in their face and say, hey, buy this? Or would you introduce yourself, say who you are, what you're about, and then ask if they're interested in your music, you know? Would you, maybe what we have to remember is posts that we're posting on social media, people who want connection, people who want relationship. In this age of social media, and we're still living through this pandemic, a lot of people are just lonely out there. We don't all live with a husband or wife or children. There's single parents out there living with their children and are going crazy and need some adult interaction. There are husbands and wives living together who want somebody else to talk to break a little bit of the tension. We all want connection. Right. So if you as a gospel artist can help to provide some encouragement, some uplifting, some conversation other than what's for dinner tonight, if you can connect with people, you're 80% of the way there.
And this whole conversation, what I keep hearing is relationship.
Absolutely.
Develop relationships. And so that I can imagine is tough for a lot of artists, because this idea that you're exposing yourself to the whole world, and it's unnerving. It's unnerving because you give people access to you, not just your music now, but your life. Mm-hmm. Now they now have the ability to criticize your music, which is you feel is a part of you, and also now your life. So how would an artist keep a level mind or keep a level heart, and remembering that they have to expose themselves to the world?
Well, as a Christian artist, the first thing I would say is pray and ask the Lord for courage and discernment, so you know what to share and what not to share. There are some things that you don't need to share, right? Jesus himself, when he was out getting disciples, and these disciples are following him, he had a circle of 12, then he had a smaller circle of 3, and then he had a best friend. There are things that you're going to share with your best friend that you're not going to share with 12 other people. So use social media wisely. Look at people as share with them the things that you would share with an acquaintance that you're trying to get to know. And it should also have a purpose, right? Don't just share, I had eggs for breakfast this morning, and there's no real purpose to why you're telling them that. You're just kind of, telling people all your business. I feel like there should be a purpose to why you're sharing it. Has God taught you a lesson in a particular experience? The argument you had with your husband this morning, did God bring some new awareness to your mind while you were having this argument? And then sprinkle in news about what you're doing. Most regular fans, and I count myself one of them, they've never been in a studio before. They don't know what that giant board that they're always seeing does. So give them some behind the scene photos, some behind the scene videos, take them on the journey of how you created the song, how you created the album. About you, you're also talking about, how you make the music. A lot of people don't know how that happens. It's magical. And also, just do it. I am taking that as one of my mottos, the Nike, the Nike first, just do it. The easiest way to get over the fear of something is to just do it. Once you do it and do it again and again and again, once you do it, then that fear goes away and it becomes second nature, and you may share one thing that every artist can share is why they're an artist, what brought them to this point. A lot of people don't know that. If you share your why you're in this, why did you write the song? What's the song about? Why'd you write it? What was your frame of mind as the song is being written on the page? Most artists don't share that kind of stuff, but people want to hear it. So, I mean, those are lots of different things that you can share with people who are following you. And then when you start to expand and accelerate and put in place some marketing strategies that bring a lot more people to your attention, you'll already be in the habit of sharing. And so then once these people are, coming to you and seeing what you've got going on, there's stuff going on and they're seeing more. I'm not saying that never post a post that says, buy my new song. Right. I'm saying that shouldn't be the only thing you post, which tends to be like all I see on, a lot of these artists.
Simone, tell me, like, what got you started into this?
Well, a little bit, something about me. What got me started was my sister, actually, and it's been a series of transitions. My sister and I both love the Spanish language, and I started out in high school, in Spanish class, and came home trying to speak it and all that kind of stuff. She fell in love with it, decided to take it even further. She was, and for her first year of college, she decided to go to Puerto Rico, and she came back speaking Spanglish. And for her last year of college, she went to Spain, the original Spanish speakers. So while she was in Spain for her last year, she's studying music as well. So she's studying Spanish. I guess she already got her music degree. I don't know. My sister's got like 3 degrees. She's very educated. While she was there, someone had asked her to sing a song for a church service. And the song she wanted to sing, they didn't know. So so she emails me and asked me if I can find this particular song. She needed a recording. They needed to hear the chords. I scoured the internet and could not find a decent recording of the song. What I did find was a MIDI file. And of course, at the time, I still don't know what a MIDI is, really. I'm not an audio engineering person. All I knew was it sounded terrible, but I sent it to her, and I'm not sure if it worked, but I guess it did. But that got me started thinking there should be something out there where I can get good Christian music easily, and so I built the Christian Jukebox, which was a digital download store for Christian music, for all types of Christian music. I had every genre you can possibly get.
Christian Jukebox, that was you?
Yes, the Christian Jukebox was me.
What? Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Yes. So, but I didn't get a whole lot of traction with it, and so I ended up. But that brought me into the music world, the Christian music world. You know, and I started going to conferences. I was mentored by, I don't know if you know Henry Harris. Um, you know, came in contact with Philip Carter and, you know, a bunch of different people, the digital download store itself. And so I ended up shutting it down. But before I shut that down, I started a radio station. I started CJB Radio and worked with somebody to run that for a while. And then that became a lot of work. And so I ended up shutting that down. Well, before I shut it down, I started Eshe. And the reason I started Eshe was because even though before I had shut down the Christian Jukebox, I had started actually building it out into like a resource site, but I wasn't getting a whole lot of traction with it. And then that idea just kind of came back to me. And so I kind of built Eshe into that. Or I was building it. But it's very hard without a team. you need like an army of developers really to do a lot of the online stuff. So right now, so I decided to rebrand it into something that I can do as a one-woman show. So right now I'm doing coaching and consulting. And that is allowing me to help artists in the way that I can. And when artists are asking me for help and for those resources, I'm able to just give it to them rather than trying to put it all into a website and all that stuff. But eventually I will build that up again. I think, you know, I want to have a database. I want to have like not a Craigslist, but like an Angie's List for indie artists. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was like an Angie's List for artists.
That would definitely be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'll put that back together, right? Because artists ask me all the time, do I know a good producer? Do I know a good image consultant? Do I know, somebody who plays drums, somebody who plays the horns? You know, I get asked that all the time. So having a resource site like that would be a good thing, I think.
That's really awesome. So, sister, saying Puerto Rico, Spain, and kind of got. I want you to talk about jukebox a little more because I remember jukebox. I do remember jukebox.
Yes.
So what's next for some?
What's next for me? I think the thing that I want to do next, I want to build out my consulting practice to a point where I am able to support groups and also have a good sized membership that will bring in enough income where I can build out that resource site, as well as, well, you asked what's next, not like future. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with that for now.
Okay, all right. So there are a lot of artists out there who are trying to figure out where do I start. I have my song. Where do I start? Where do I go?
You start with your branding. Figure out who you are and how you want to show up to your fans. That's the starting point. A lot of artists want to put out a song and then immediately start submitting to radio. Radio is not effective unless you have some infrastructure in place, because people, radio might like your song and decide to pick it up and play it constantly. But then now the people who are listening are like, oh, I like this song. This is pretty cool. I wonder who she is, or I wonder who he is, and come looking for you. And there's nothing there for them. So build up your infrastructure, build up the branding, have a message, have some you know, be building that relationship so that when those people come looking, there's something there for them to see and something there for them to buy.
And again, the concept of relationship comes back up because it's like, you have to know who you are, and in order for you to know who you are, you have to have a relationship
Yeah,
with yourself. You have to know who you gotta spend time with yourself, get to know who you are, get to know the things you like, know and understand the things that you should be sharing.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's wow. Relationship. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, the biggest marketing tool really is building a relationship.
Who have been some of your influences in this industry?
Um, People who like the guys over at CD Baby. I
Okay.
like them a lot. Kevin Bruner and Chris, I'm forgetting his last name. I've been to their conference twice now, and I love it immensely. Um, let's see. Philip Carter and Henry Harris are big influencers. I'm actually involved in Philip Carter's organization, the Independent Gospel Artists Alliance. Let's see. Who else has been an influence to me? Rick Barker. I like to quote him a lot. Um, he likes to say the internet has won. So many artists are fighting the internet.
Mm,
But the internet has won. It's not going anywhere. It's sticking around. So you might as well get used to it and learn to use it.
right.
Um, and who else? Leah McHenry.
Mm,
Um, she is one of those artists who has strangely weird music, but she's got multiple thousands of fans. Why? Because she's got a relationship with them. I bet a lot of those people stick around, not for her music, but because they like her,
mm.
you know. And a lot of them probably just buy it, they do the 99-cent downloads just to support her.
Mm.
But you listen to her music and it's just like, oh man, this is weird.
What's so funny about the idea of artists sharing their lives is a lot of artists I found are introverts,
Mm,
and it's like it's scary for them. Scary for them
yeah.
to share their life. So are there any tips that you think that they could use to overcome that fear?
Um, I'm an introvert myself, so I know how they feel. I was insanely, ridiculously shy as a kid, um, and didn't want to speak to anybody that I didn't already know.
Mm.
Um, and even now, I am, during this pandemic, I have been perfectly okay being in a house by myself with no one around. I've been okay. I've been just fine. Um, you know, I've got the internet. I'm good. Right. But for for introverts who want to start sharing, pick something that is okay to share and go with that. And just share it and tell stories around that one thing. And you can build up from there. Every one of us has a little bit of extroversion in us.
Yeah.
Even your biggest introvert has some extrovert in them. So let that extrovert come out and play every once in a while. Let them come out into the sun and shine and tell the world, this is me, this is who I am. I mean, if you're willing to share your music, start there. Start with why you're doing this. What was it God gave you?
Mm.
What do you want to say? You know, start there. And as people respond, then respond back. even if it's just to say thank you. People like to be recognized. People like to know that you care. Um, people like to know that, you know, they want to be seen. They want to be heard. So if they comment on your post about why you're in this music thing, then reply back to them. They're going to feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
So Simone, when people hear the word marketing,
Mm-hmm.
especially artists, when they hear the word marketing, pretty sure the first thing that comes to their mind is money. This is gonna cost me some money. So what is, you know, it is gonna cost some money, right? So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
are there other ways that it, like you just mentioned some things, like you mentioned, you know, sharing the parts of your life.
Absolutely.
Require, you know,
You can do that for free.
that's for free. But there might be some other steps that someone may have to take to push their music, their content themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the importance of that? You know, can you speak to that? Because I know some artists are like, I just don't have it, so I'm not willing to dish out or invest in that. What is your take on that?
Investing in yourself and in learning how to market and how to use the tools effectively that you have at your disposal can only help you. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. Even if you were to buy somebody's course who had the absolute worst track record,
Mm-hmm.
even that person will get you a little nugget that if you used it would probably boost your marketing prowess more than what you have now. Because if you learn something that you didn't already know,
Mm-hmm.
then that was a good investment. Um, I say to artists, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Um, what you're doing is you're investing in learning something that you didn't already know, right? I do interviews like this. I am fine with sharing what I know. However, I can't give you everything in this hour-long Zoom call. I can give you little nuggets here and there. You can take what I've said, and that will help you tremendously. However, I haven't given you all my little techniques, all my little tricks and tips, and and I haven't introduced you to other people I know, you know, and some of the ins and outs and all these different things. So it behooves you to invest if what you want to do is grow your ministry and start bringing in some income. I know as a Christian artist that money is not your main focus. Most Christian artists, what they tell me, I ask them for their goals, right? And they tell me, I want to spread my message to the world. I want everybody to know that God loves them, and that's wonderful. And that's a lofty goal. But that's not something that I can help you with. I can help you to figure out how much money it's going to take to get your music in front of all these different people that you want that you want to touch. I can help you make enough money to buy a new van so that you can go touring, the Southeast or whatever. Money isn't necessarily your biggest goal, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. However, you do need money in order to move forward in your ministry. That's just reality. So many people don't like to talk about money, but money is not the evil thing. I feel like not having any money is pretty evil. um, it not having money kind of stops you from getting on an airplane when somebody in Europe calls and says, I heard your music online and it was just phenomenal. My sister loves it, my church loves it, my pastor, everybody loves it. We would love for you to come. You know, you need money to get on an airplane, you need money for the hotel, you need money for all these different things. You need money so that your day job isn't funding your dream and your ministry, right? Your day job, the money coming in from that can go to just sustaining your family. And this other thing you've got going on that you're not doing full time, you can have that not suck up all the money that you're getting from your 9 to 5. So, you know, you can afford to buy piano lessons for your children and release that new project. You know, you can do both.
Right. And it's so
Money helps with all of that.
true. It's true. And it's such a crazy thing because I personally struggled with that. I hate kind of having that conversation with churches. Well, I used to. I'm kind of better at it now, but I used to. Because like it really is some of the lessons. Like even looking at some of your posts, like lessons that I've learned from people like you, where I learned to value myself and not be afraid to say, okay, if you want me, if you want my services, you want my ministry, then this is what it's so, but I know that kind of discomfort with having that conversation, especially when it comes to churches, like this, feel awkward. You feel weird having that conversation.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's another thing too that I almost never bring up. But I mean, if you were to have a nice, healthy, engaged fan base that was buying all the kinds of stuff, all these different things that you were selling, then if you wanted to provide your services to a church free of charge, because you felt the Lord saying, you know, they can't necessarily afford it, but they really need you to play, then it wouldn't be as big a deal, you know? It's like, yeah, we know you work hard on your music. You spend so much time getting it right, you know, making sure the production is right. You spend hours and hours in rehearsal. You know, you're paying background singers, you're paying band members, and then when people want to book you to come to their church and sing, they don't want to pay you anything. That must be awful and just terribly discouraging. But if you were bringing in income, then in that kind of a situation, you can say, well, I can negotiate with you, or I can do it for an offering, or you can be a bit more flexible because you're okay. You're not starving, right? You're not going to starve. The band's not going to starve. But if and and if you have that healthy, strong fan base and people are seeing how much you work and they get to know you and all this stuff, then you're also showing your worth and you'll get better offers, I believe. If you get more offers, then you'll be able to pick and choose better, right? Well, this one over here, they're not really, they're just trying to get over. They're not, they're not paying anybody anything. There are churches out there who will bring in, Yolanda Adams and pay her thousands, but on the exact same concert or something, they want to book you and pay you nothing. It's, yeah, give you a chicken sandwich, right? I don't even need chicken. So then you're able to pick and choose and say, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take this offer over here because they're actually valuing my services and my music and my gift and my ministry, So it gives you more to work with.
It's amazing. I think you've given a lot of amazing advice. I'm sure you could give more. And so I want to give you an opportunity to like give your final words, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to share with the people, tell everybody how they can find you, what you're working on now. It's all yours.
Well, my main program is called Monetize Your Music Ministry. That is my main program. I also have a program called the Fan Base Builder, which is kind of a subset of the Monetize. So if you are interested in working with me, learning how to market effectively, learning how to build your ministry in such a way that there is income coming in and you are marketing yourself effectively, I am here ready and willing to help you. You can go to my website, eshemusic.com. It's spelled ECHE music.com/MMA. And I am available for half-hour assessment calls, discovery calls, whatever you want to call it. I will chat with you and give you your best next step for moving your ministry forward. And of course, I'm also going to tell you about my programs and how I can help you. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Eshe Music. I am on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, although I don't use it very much, but Instagram and Facebook are the best places to find me other than the website. Okay, eshemusic.com, ECHE.
Simone Henry, thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your knowledge with us today. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome.
Is going to reach out to you after hearing this because I know a lot of artists that are just like, I need help. So Simone Henry is the person that you want to speak to get that help that you need your marketing strategies. Go and look her up now, right now. Hit the button. All right, Simone Henry, thank you once again. Appreciate you. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you very much. You too. Have a great day.